My clients is about to buy a new computer, and when it comes to computers, he's rather a stingy guy, like I am. He doesn't want to pay much money, but he's also not very ambitious about his computer. So he just wants to surf the web and check his emails occasionally, like most people do. And he asked me, well, is it really necessary for me to have a good CPU? Or could I just buy, say, a very old laptop with, say, a Intel Centrino or even Intel Pentium CPU? Would that be good enough for me? Would I even realize a difference in having more processing power? Because I don't need it. I just want the internet, and my internet is pretty fast. So, well, I wanted to answer him with a little experiment. I created this new Ubuntu 18.10 machine. If you are looking for a good operating system, well, take a look at Ubuntu. It's nice and easy. It's easy to set up. It's easy to install. So that's a good thing. Well, I've set this machine up for him, and I wanted to show him how fast this machine boots with different CPUs or different CPU powers that I gave the machine in my favorite virtualization tool, VirtualBox. And I want to show you the exact same experiment right here in this video. So let's power off the machine first. Let's go to the settings of our machine and look into our system settings. I gave the machine 2 GB of RAM, which is more than enough for what we are going to use it today. It has 2 processing cores at the moment, and there's no execution cap. They can use 100% of my physical CPU, which is an Intel Core i5. You can do this experiment at your home PC if you want to. You don't even need to use Ubuntu for it. You can also use Windows or whatever. The difference will be that you have a different host machine, and so you will also come to different boot times. I just want you to be aware of that. Okay, so let's start the machine with this setting, and I'm gonna let our stopwatch run and measure the time that the machine needs to boot. And obviously this should go by kind of fast, since we gave it a pretty good physical setup. Oh, it's already here. In a little under 21 seconds, I pressed the button a little too late. And now I think we don't just want to see the boot time, we also want to start a web browser and open up a web page. I decided to use Pixabay, which is a free image platform, because that's a website that takes a little time, and I'm not gonna get into any trouble because of copyright problems, since everything on Pixabay is free. So let's resume the clock. We're gonna keep our 21 seconds in mind, a little less than 21. We're gonna keep our 21 seconds in mind and resume. Here's our web browser, and here's Pixabay. It's already loaded in 29 seconds. So whenever you have a computer like this with this setup, you can expect it to have it booted and be in the web in under 30 seconds. But since we are at Stingy IT, we probably want to buy a processor that's a little cheaper and has just one single processing core. So we're gonna tell VirtualBox to simulate exactly that. We're still gonna stick with our 100% execution cap. And we are gonna clear our stopwatch and start the experiment again. Let's see how long this takes. Well, it should take a little longer, since we have a little less CPU power. But the big question is not how long it takes. The big question is if this is a difference that we even will realize in our all-day life. Here's our 21 seconds. The computer is not here right now. Well, I would say this is about 26 seconds, eventually a little faster. But it's a little more. So we are losing time because we are having less CPU power. Let's do the web browsing experiment again. Here's our web browser after 33 seconds. And here's Pixabay after 37 seconds. So we needed a little more time than we needed before, but not a real difference. Let's power it off again. And now we also want to cap the execution limit a little bit. I'm gonna go down to say 30%. So our virtual machine is only allowed to use one physical core from our host machine, and it's also only allowed to use 30% of this core. Since my host machine has 3 GHz, this is probably equally to say a 1 GHz machine, even though that's not a good comparison. I guess if you do this with physical machines, you will get different results. So let's start this up and see how long this takes. So I guess when you have waited this whole minute and 22 seconds, you will have realized that the CPU power really has an impact on your boot time. But here's the deal, it will also have an impact on how fast you are going to be able to browse the web. Let's open up our web browser again. Okay, well, if your internet isn't fast enough for you, then it could be the power of your computer. It's not always your provider's fault. We needed almost 2 minutes to boot our computer and go into the web with this setting. So what this experiment should show you is just that CPU time, or the power of your CPU, actually has an impact on your all-day computing. You can do this experiment at home, but obviously since you will have a different host machine, you will also run into different boot times. So here's a little summary of our little experiment that we just did. My physical CPU in the host machine that I use to run VirtualBox on is an Intel Core i5 mobile CPU, a pretty normal processor to be in a consumer computer. My physical machine also runs on SSD, so our virtual machine was also running on SSD in this video. We gave the virtual machine 2 GB of RAM and 16 MB of video memory. And after that, we had those 3 different boot times. As you can see, giving our virtual machine 2 cores made it boot up and open a website in almost 30 seconds, while having just one single CPU or just one single core meant having to wait almost 2 minutes before being online. So even though this experiment is not representative for anything, the whole message behind this video is only that the CPU power that you have in your computer has an actual impact on your boot times and also the time that you would need to open up a website. So in your all-day computing life, you probably want some kind of good CPU. And that's all we want to learn today. So I hope this was a little fun. Thanks for watching and God bless you.